Good morning, everyone. Welcome to a very special occasion. I had to get up bright and early to go to the post office on my day off, and I thought it was just for some card, and I thought I couldn't, because it just said like white envelope, so I didn't exactly know who had sent me a white envelope. But I am waiting on a couple of things, and lo and behold, I think I just got some Life in Space comics in the mail. Finally. I guess it took a little longer for me, not just because I'm in Spain, but also because of customs, because it's so many. I did get in trouble not too long ago when SamuraiOx sent me a package and added some extra copies, and I had to answer all sorts of letters, whether they were for sale and all that stuff. But no such thing this time. Just a box. Not much of an envelope though, so not very descriptive, but I finally got it though. So yeah, let's get back home and let's do a little unboxing. It's also day 100 of 100 Days of Making Comics. What a fun little coincidence. Well, I'm gonna get into the finer details for that in a second. Rest assured, it was actually a couple of days ago, I think, when you do the math. But I put in the work yesterday. I think I worked on the page 2 type pencils for about 2.5 hours. Made a nice little video that I'm gonna show you guys as soon as I get home and put this together. Open up that box. I just have to grab a little bite to eat while I'm right over here. It's always hard walking by the Sagrada Familia on my way home because it's close to some of my favorite junk food. But oh my god, check this out. That's kind of a big deal. Can't wait to introduce my Spanish friends to the delights of Cajun fries. And close to home too. Anyway, let's not get killed crossing this road. So a little backstory to why this package is such a big deal for me. The 100 Days of Making Comics was set up by Kevin Cross, and no matter how busy you are, you try and find at least half an hour a day to work on your personal comic book project every single day for 100 consecutive days. And those of us who have completed the challenge got together over a year ago to put together a little book. And it was called the Life in Space The 100s Anthology Comic Book. 20 artists, 6 pages each, all around the Life in Space theme. We got to work. We did 100 days together, and followed by a very successful Kickstarter that we all got to partake in, getting our friends and family involved, and of course all of you who are watching these videos, not just mine, but those of the community of comic book creators that we have built up over the past couple of years. It makes me feel very proud to be part of such a positive internet community that not just supports each other in their endeavors to get themselves in print, but also to allow me to appear in print alongside of them, and to see so many people still eager to join the ranks as we speak. The V100s online community can be found on Facebook. If you look for 100 Days of Making Comics here on YouTube, you'll find lots of people in the last number of years. But if you filter it to just, like more recent, you'll find the people very easily who are doing it right now. Of course, you can find some links down below. I'll be sure to post them there. But just to give you an idea of the scale of how big this community has grown, have a little look. It's fun. Oh. that right there is my cue to get this video in order and to give you the full update on where my own 100 days of making comics is ending in this second round. So this is the page 2 of my science fiction comic book, Phosphor, that if this happens to be the first video you've ever watched on my channel, I'm making a little sci-fi adventure comic book. It's very much in the vein of Alien and The Thing. The kind of films or stories where a crew of some sort comes across a secret installation, alien technology, a monster that is awakened, and their own infighting ends up meaning their demise at the hands of that creature. And it's a genre I'm very fond of, and I've always wanted to make my own tale where I get to decide, you know, who's the idiot who opens the door, or the scientist and what he has to say about the creature. Fill in the dialogue, you know, like I think I urge anyone who is watching films and videos and think, you know, if you think you have not necessarily a better idea, but you know, you think it's a better idea, you know, get busy, get started. There's no harm opening a sketchbook and to start thumbnailing a little story and to start writing down little dialogue and to just, you know, instead of complaining about what's out there, just go ahead and make your own tale, like I am trying to point out right here in this one. So in my sci-fi story, I've completed about 28 pages of rough inks that you can read up on Gumroad if you'd like to see the work in progress. I am now progressing along with the tight pencils that I'm then gonna ink, and things have been expanding a little bit. I thought like maybe I should work twice the size, like, you know, look up the actual size that professional comic book artists use, but I decided to go along with the same format that I've been using for the Life in Space comic book that worked last time. And that worked for a different comic book I did. So this is 10.5 by 7 inches on paper. It's not Bristol, just nice thick paper that I can draw on. Having the rough inks version on my laptop on screen, I'm just copying what is there and having a lot more space available in front of me, you know, and like clearly seeing what can and what can't work detail-wise. Like I've always had a little trouble catching on to what resolution I'm actually working in. And even in my Life in Space comic book, like having a little read, I noticed that between some pages or certain panels on the same page, the resolution increases and decreases. And that is something that I kind of need to keep in mind working on this one right here. So lots more space for detail, and that's what I've done. Like as soon as I had the basic layout copied onto actual paper, I just started adding more characters, but also like finding the finer details in textures and all sorts. But once again, running out of space, I go across the 10.5 by 7 inch border that I drew in red. I don't know if you can actually see that. And I just started expanding the panels, and I think that's okay for my workflow. Like in the Life in Space comic book, the original pages, I went across the borders, and then growing very fond of some of the art I produced, I then imported it into Photoshop. And looking at this panel right here, this massive background piece, I think I'll just take the whole thing, downsize it so it does fit within the Kablam template that we were using. So maybe I'll scan it all, resize it, excuse me, and then print it out again, and then work on a printed version of the tight pencils to ink, like I've seen Kevin Cross do in his, I think he just finished up his round 5 of 100 Days of Making Comics of Monkey Mod over on his Patreon, that you should definitely check out. If you support Kevin on Patreon, of course, you get access to all of his past videos, and his round 5 was no less revealing about the man, the myth, and the Monkey Mod legend in the making. And it's been great fun catching up on all of it, because I fell off Patreon for just like a couple of weeks, just as he was posting all those videos. So yeah, be sure to check out Kevin. So back to my my own comic book in the making, Phosphor. The second page, so the top half or 2/3 are very much a reveal of the background after the first page, where we get to see an introduction to two major characters and some of the kids as a group, like as representatives of this whole group of characters, because there's quite a lot of people on this sci-fi vehicle of mine. So on this bottom third, where we continue the conversation, there's a lot of banter on this page. It continues the conversation that started on that first page and gives you a different point of view, if you will, hoping to build up, you know, some interest in what is going on. And like, I've been thinking a lot about, you know, like this whole notion of the first issue, like the opening scene that has to hook you, because if it doesn't, then you're not going to pick up the next issue. So having taken two days to upload this video and getting to redo the commentary, I saw Star Wars Han Solo yesterday, and I'm not gonna give you any spoilers because you probably still have to see this movie for yourself in the cinema. It's a fun, low-key adventure movie. That's how I put it. It's like, but since I'm not really reviewing the movie right here, I saw a review about it, and it said, it made these comments about a sense of urgency, a lack of stakes or high stakes, and that got me thinking about, you know, the sense of urgency and stakes in my comic book, and it got me asking, like, is that clear in the opening 28 pages? So if you are watching this video and you've already downloaded the Rough Inks version and you got to read the whole story, I'd love to hear some feedback down below in the comments as to how you feel about the stakes for the characters, and like if that's clear and if that hooks you enough, so to speak. You know, I'm really keen on hearing back from people about that. I personally think that for some characters it is there, but I did write like half a page of ideas and questions for the other characters in this comic book, including those on this page, questioning myself as the writer. Do they actually have stakes? Are they clear to the reader? Are they clear to them? Or is that something that is going to be revealed and I'm okay on leaving that for this issue? So there's been a lot of thinking after watching this film about, you know, like setting the scene for this big story in this opening chapter. And yeah, it's been interesting. So this is getting back to what you're actually looking at. This is one of the newer characters that I kind of worked out in my day. What was it, like after day 75? I started digging into my sketchbook and working out a lot of the faces of the characters, as in like templates, if you will, to really pin down their looks, because I'm gonna, you know, these are the fine, the tight pencils, these are gonna be the inks, so I really need to know exactly what every character looks like. And a lot of the background characters just hadn't really been developed, unlike Amisha right here, where I'm drawing one of the major characters of the Scavenger Kids. And that kind of leads me to think about a slightly different topic, so bear with me. If I were to review these 100 Days of Making Comics, I think I had a pretty good run this second time round, or third if you count the Life in Space. Like, I was really off to a good start, getting some rough pencils down in the first 10 days. That quickly moved into more writing, and then working out the Rough Inks version, which lasted up until day 50. But that by day 50, and then what was it? Was it day 75? I can't even remember the exact days, but somewhere around the halfway mark, I had the Rough Inks version ready, and then proceeded on to pinning down the dialogue and putting that in and having a readable comic book for you guys, right? So I feel like then going back to sketching after day 75 was a good idea to kind of have that down and to just kind of give me a break from this grind that I had been on, to allow me to do something differently. But it also slowed me down, and it also kind of had me going into this little dip where to finally get started on the tight pencils phase took a little longer for me to get back on the horse, if you will. I don't think I did that right. I should have not stayed away from that as long. You know, like you go on these little tangents, but then, you know, having a full-time job and like, you know, you have your life, like sometimes you kind of don't come back from that tangent, you know? Damn Harley Davidsons. So yeah, so to give you a little bit of an overall review of my 100 days, I think I had a pretty good run at it. But there was definitely some ups and downs, and like some of the downs were going off on these tangents and like losing, not focus, but like losing enough momentum to get back onto like the next really hard phase and procrastinating. So I don't think I did that right. Something that is also kind of important is, of course, to keep pushing me as an artist. So one thing that happened during these 100 days of making comics is I stopped being a full-time employee. I decided that with having paid off my student loan, I had the means, and even before that, I decided to push for it anyway, to go part-time. I now have more time to work on my my own comic book, to work on myself as an artist, and like to go for that elusive art job in the near future, like in the next coming months, like I'm aiming for this summer, by making sure I have the time available, just like I did when, you know, things got really rough while I was living in London, and decided to make the jump to move to Spain, Barcelona, where, you know, the living expenses are a lot lower. Wages might be a little lower too, but overall it balanced each other out to the point that I just end up having more time to develop Fosphor. And so here we are. I think it's time for the next step. Now that I have a short story comic book in print with all of you guys, like one thing that I've always dreaded is to put something up for sale. So I did do that last November. I started putting up for sale postcards of the Sagrada Familia, hand-drawn. I have not had a lot of success selling those online, I have to admit. I have a lot more success selling in person. Like maybe I'm just a, you know, friendly salesperson, I don't know. But having the Life in Space comic book in my bag and showing it work, like I sold 2 on the spot for like 20 euros each. So that goes a lot easier for me. Like, as a businessman online, like I just, yeah, there's still a lot to learn for me. And so one of the things I've been doing to kind of push it a little bit is take on a little side project, providing illustrations for some, some training or some sort. I don't even know exactly what it is anymore. But I decided to provide some illustrations for the office in Brussels. So let's go check out what I've been doing over there. So this week, working on this illustration, having finished up the other one and sent it off, gave me my first taste of dealing with international clients and severe miscommunication. Wow. All of a sudden I got an email basically stating, look, if you're not interested in doing this, it's okay, just say so. And I had taken my time sending off that first illustration, but then I didn't hear back for over a week. Like no feedback, like no thanks, like nothing. And so I thought like, well, I guess I missed the deadline that they never gave me, and that's the end of it. And instead, it turned out that how should I put it? The spitballing of ideas over the sketches I had initially sent to them were a list of illustrations they needed, whereas to me, they were simply more ideas and let's see where we can take this. And so it was a complete miscommunication. So I guess when they only saw one illustration after a week and that was it, they didn't even respond anymore because they were waiting on the other 5. And so that is now all cleared up after some more talking. But it was also like a fun little miscommunication, as in like, you know, even though we speak the same language, there's some cultural differences between Belgians and Dutch people. And one of them is definitely directness. So I should have been very blunt as I can be from the start, instead of just being very friendly about it. But, you know, I work for Belgians. The people I get on the phone all the time are all from Belgium. So I know how to, you know, like I know how to talk to them. But when she finally just broke the ice and just said like, look, if you're not interested, that is the kind of response that that I'm used to as a Dutch person. It's like, okay, you know, like we don't know each other. Let's not waste each other's time. Let's get things moving. And so we finally got at that stage. So I just sent her a very straightforward email back after that, and just to clear things up, but also to be like, okay, I need to know for when this is, like, what is your deadline? I think you want these illustrations, and just listed 6 of them. I have an idea for another one, and I'll show them to you on Monday at 12 o'clock. But this is a little something I'm doing on the side, and though I'm going to be spending a couple of hours on it tomorrow for sure, getting those 5 images out. So with these 100 days coming to a close, and you know, a nice little reminder of how cool it is to see yourself in print coming in the mail yesterday. I need to keep pushing myself to make that happen again and again and again. And like I said a little while back, one of the hardest thing is to put a price on my work. Like, how much should I charge? You know, like, what is my going rate? Like, these things need to be more clear for me, and I need to get over that little hurdle, you know, that embarrassment level, if you will. Because if I want to make this a job, like, the truth of it is, like, it might not be as an employee, it might just be as a freelancer, or you know, as my own business that gets hired by other companies to deliver the art. Because that is seemingly the reality for most of us. Like, we don't just get an office job or a job in a studio anymore. And of course, I'm here in Spain, and with the internet, like, you can work anywhere in the world. So with the success you guys have granted me, is this gonna fall? This is totally gonna fall, isn't it? With the success you guys have granted me with the on Gumroad, I figure I now feel pretty comfortable on Gumroad, and I am going to put up some more stuff on Gumroad. So the first thing I was thinking of that I'm actually going to put a price on, unlike the Phosphor Roughings version and the issue 0 that you can pick up for free. I'm trying to increase the readership. I want people's feedback. It is not the finished version. It is a work in progress. So enjoy reading it. But I am going to put up something there with a price attached to get into this, to get over that hurdle, and to get into the habit of doing this more regularly. Especially because as much as I enjoyed being on Patreon, that ultimately I'm still kind of like, I'm not sure if that is really a fit. I think I would rather just make pieces, make art, and just put that up and see what happens, rather than asking people to support me. Because even though I do put out quite a lot of videos when I do these 100 days, right after this I'm going to go back to my 1 a week Sketchalona routine. And I don't, like, I'm not like you can support your favorite artists, but I am not like doing tutorials. Like, I don't know, like I'm just not sure if that's quite the fit for me still. Like, if there was lots of stuff I was giving away behind the scenes, then that would work, I think. But I'm not, because I don't have the time. Maybe I will, maybe I'll change my mind. Once this 100 days is over, I'll have more time freed up, of course, to make the odd extra video, just not when you're doing one every day. So yes, enough of the babbling. The plan is to put up a sketchbook. So I thought of just doing like a poster or a piece, because I was working on one that I did the gray tones for the comic book. You might remember that one. It's going to be in this sketchbook. But I also just finished up a sketchbook about a month ago, and I didn't do any videos about it, and like already started a new one, and I just started flicking through them, and there's a lot of nice development in my sketches that I would like to share with everyone, and that I thought might be nice for people to buy. So let's find out. I've collected about 80. I can find a couple of more. I'm going to put them through Photoshop to just give them a little bit of a tone. I think that would be nice. But maintain all the pencils, of course. But I'm going to do that because the last time I did that, I had a lot of fun with it. I want to have this fun tonight and make at least, like a couple of them like stand out. So I hope you liked the look of what I was talking about, what I'm doing. It is now midnight. I've been at it for about 5 hours, and I've got about 15. So it's a lot more work than I thought, adding a little tone. But yeah, time to finish up this video and start the uploading process, because that's going to be a lengthy one. And then hopefully this one will be up by Sunday, which is, it's only 3 days later than it was supposed to be posted, but I made it. So I just wanted to thank everyone who's been very supportive of me, all the new subscribers who've joined these past 100 days, all the people who are still at their 100 days. You're also pretty close. People like Clemmons. There's a couple of people who've just finished up. There's too many. My brain is mush, so that's the only person I can think of right now because I just watched this video. So I hope you guys don't mind. Thanks so much for staying tuned at my little channel and for joining me on this little journey to get my own comic book story finished and ready for you to read, and who knows, published sometime this year. In the meantime, be sure to follow the links down below. Check out some of the other people who are doing the 100 Days of Making Comics still. And check out my new sketchbook. It's up on Gumroad. I hope as soon as this video loads up. I'm still working on it. But yeah, be sure to follow the link. Check it out. Let me know what you think, and I'll talk to you guys soon.